George Eastman once said that light makes photography, and we should embrace light. And when you are crafting that digitally in post-production, control and accuracy are everything. Today, we're looking at 3 game-changing feature updates coming to Red Giant Real Lens Flares. With the additions of the interactive zoom feature, support for aspherical lenses, and 44 brand new presets, Real Lens Flares now feels more photographically accurate than ever. In this video, we're going to explore how each of these features can help you create more realistic yet cinematic lens flares directly inside your compositing, grading, and editing apps. So buckle up and let's get started. Real Lens Flare now has the interactive zoom control, which allow your lens flare behavior to dynamically respond to focal length changes. Instead of manually rebuilding or adjusting your flare at different focal length, Real Lens Flares now reacts in much more natural and intuitive way, closely matching the behavior of real-world lenses. As we open the Real Lens Flares designer, we can see straight away that the lens pane at the bottom is now accurately representing the lens that you've selected, as well as the light path, which shows the light journey from the scene to the sensor. When we select a preset that is using a zoom lens, for example this consumer zoom Canon 18-55mm, on the lens panel, you can now change the zoom. Different focal length from the same zoom lens generate slightly different look to your lens flare. In the previous version, you can select different focal length of the same zoom lens through the presets. So there are multiple presets for the same zoom lens at different focal length. And with this update, it is not the case anymore. You can now use the zoom value to change the focal length of the selected zoom lens. And as we change the zoom, our lens pane nicely illustrates what is happening inside the lens when we are zooming in or out. The result will also be simultaneously displayed in the preview pane. So our flares changes interactively as we zoom in or out. Notice as we drag the zoom value, you can also observe the focal length change in the lens pane. So for example, for this Canon 18-55mm lens, 0% of zoom will give you 18mm focal length, while 45% at 35mm and 100% at 55mm focal length. Using the interactive zoom feature in Real Lens Flares allow you to match the physical zoom lens you were using at the set, down to the changes in the focal length. The zoom control is also available at the effect control panel outside of the designer. In the Effect Control panel, scroll down to the Lens Control and fold it open in case you have it closed. Here, you'll have exactly the same interactive zoom control as in the designer. Certain zoom lenses has a fixed maximum aperture size which will remain the same at different focal length. So when we set to its maximum aperture, zooming in and out at the different focal length will retain the same maximum aperture value. On the other hand, some zoom lenses has variable maximum aperture size which have different maximum aperture values at different focal length. And in this case, Real Lens Flares interactive zoom is also respecting that. For example, this Canon 18-55mm zoom lens has variable maximum aperture size. So at 0% zoom, which is 18mm, we can have f-stop value of 4. While when we are at 100% zoom, we can only have f-stop value of 5.9. By animating the changes of this parameter, you can now replicate the morphing lens flares effect resulting from racking your zoom lens focal length. This release also introduced support for the aspherical lenses, which dramatically increase the number of lens types that can be supported inside Real Lens Flares. Traditional spherical optics produce one type of flare characteristic, but modern cinema lenses often use aspherical elements that create very different reflections, streaks, and highlight behavior. With this update, you can now reproduce those subtleties with far greater accuracy and realism. In this update, you can access some aspherical lenses in the preset, for example this Leica Sumilux M 35mm f1.4 aspherical, which you can find in the Consumer Prime preset category. There are also a lot of aspherical lenses that you can find in this update. Although their names don't indicate that it is an aspherical lens, they do have a spherical lens element. For example, the ARRI Zeiss Master Prime in the Cine Spherical preset category, or the Panavision Primo in the same category. In the lens pane, green lens element indicates that it is an aspherical lens element. Meanwhile, gray lens element indicates that it is spherical lens element. Meanwhile, blue indicates that it is an anamorphic lens element. You can really differentiate them based on the color code in the lens pane. Now, if you want to, you can also select the aspherical lens element and change the coatings, refractive index, and chroma dispersion, which will have an effect on the result of your lens flare. Coating changes won't affect core projections, but they do influence reflection. By adjusting the thickness and anti-reflective properties for the front and back of each lens element, you will see subtle reflection changes emerge. Remember that lens element operates in tandem. Experimentations across multiple elements may be needed to see even subtle results. Refractive index, which controls how fast light moves through the lens, can be set from 0 to 2. Using this control, you can start mimicking the clarity of your lens element material, like when you want to make them to behave like an optical glass rather than clear plastic. Then you can set the refractive index to be higher than 1.5. Meanwhile, chroma dispersion, which ranges from 0 to 100%, influences how the lens element is prone to chromatic aberration. As you may already seen previously, there are 44 new presets included in this update. There are a lot of aspherical lenses that you can access in this update. If you spot a green lens element in the lens diagram, then you'll know that that lens has an aspherical lens element in it. Those are a lot of new lenses that you can experiment with, including our very own theoretical Nifty 50, the RG Optics 50mm f2.2. This Real Lens Flares presets covers a wide range of looks, from clean modern cinema lenses to a more stylized and vintage optical signatures, giving you a strong starting point for both photoreal and creative flare design. So, whether you are aiming for subtle photographic realism or bold cinematic stylizations, this update adds a powerful new level of flexibility and control to Real Lens Flares. This is Max from Maxon. Have fun playing around with Red Giant Real Lens Flares. Embrace the light. We are curious to see what you are making with real lens flares, so please do tag us in our socials. Until next time, folks, goodbye.